Jose, and what's up, guys? Welcome to Mystery World. Today, we're breaking down the movie, In the Heart of Sea 2015. So, without wasting any time, let's jump right in. The year 1850 appears as the film begins. A writer of some renown appears. He is not a local, but has traveled here to meet someone. The author knocks on the door of a residence. However, the woman inside asks the author to leave, mistaking him for a mere customer. But the author explains who he is, insisting that he is a writer, not a client. Opening the door, the woman calls for her husband, whom the writer recognizes. The author had come to see her husband. Her husband's name is Thomas. He is an elderly man now. The author approaches Thomas to ask about a story. However, Thomas insults the author as soon as they meet. "Are you mad? Have you traveled this great distance just to meet me?" The author disregards Thomas's anger. He tells Thomas that he has come to hear his story. The author then offers Thomas money. "I will give you all my money if you tell me the true story." Saying this, the writer places his payment before Thomas. But Thomas refuses the proposal. He tells the writer to go check the public records, saying he can find the story there. But the writer says, "I need to hear the real story from you. I don't need the official records." Hearing this, Thomas becomes furious. He asks the writer to leave. Thomas shouts, "I know nothing." Disappointed, the writer begins to leave, but Thomas's wife stops him. She steps in, apologizing for her husband's behavior. She asks the writer not to mind her husband, as Thomas has never revealed the story to anyone, including her. She approaches her husband and pleads with him to finally tell the story of the incident he survived. At last, Thomas agrees to his wife's request. The truth is, they are very poor. They need the money, which is why Thomas agrees. Thomas calls the writer closer and says that he will tell the story only as much as can be borne. It was not a fiction, but a tragedy. Thomas admits it was the incident that changed his life. Thomas begins his tale. It is 1820, a time when whales were hunted at sea. They were hunted because their oil was rare. Many people traded in whale oil. It was not just a business to them. People loved whaling and extracting the oil. People even gambled on it, betting on which ship would return with the most oil. A man named Owen is introduced. Owen works for a company and has a wife. He seems satisfied with his life. He serves a whaling company. Naturally, the company trades in whale oil. Owen meets the company owner. They tell Owen they are launching an expensive whaling ship. They inform Owen they are sending him as the first mate. Hearing this, Owen is confused. They had promised him he would be captain this time, but they have gone back on their word, giving the captaincy to someone else. The new captain's name is George. George is the son of the company owner. The owners promise Owen he will be captain next time. They increase Owen's wages due to his skills. Owen agrees, but demands they sign a contract assuring his future captaincy. Owen is then seen preparing to sail. Owen's wife is unhappy about his departure. She says, "Promise me you will return alive." She gives him a locket, so he remembers his promise. Next, George, the new captain, is shown. His father tells him, "Go, my son, and return triumphant." The crew gathers and a crowd comes to see them off. A young boy named Thomas is among them. He is the young version of the old storyteller. It is Thomas's first time whaling. Owen's childhood friend is also on the ship. Captain George and Owen meet. Conflict arises immediately. George asserts his authority over Owen aggressively. Owen cannot react as George is the captain. As they sail, the ship encounters a problem. The ship seems stuck. Owen resolves the risky situation using his skills. It is clear Owen succeeded due to his experience. Captain George is the opposite. He lacks skill and capability. He feels envious witnessing Owen's skills. He antagonizes Owen at dinner that night. George degrades Owen, calling him a commoner and a farmer's son. Owen struggles to tolerate the humiliation, but leaves, telling his companions that they must rise early. Class distinctions on the ship are very clear. The crew is looked down upon. The next day, George commands Owen again. Owen reluctantly carries out the order. Owen then spots a storm approaching. He warns George about the threatening squall. He suggests they change course. Disagreeing, George commands them to sail into the storm. They sail into the storm and get caught. Owen shouts that they must furl the sails immediately, but George remains stubborn, forcing the ship deeper into the storm. This threatens the ship and their lives. Eventually, they survive the storm. George orders Owen to apologize in front of everyone, stating they will return to port. He intends to return without any oil. Owen tries to reason with George. He explains they cannot return empty-handed, as many livelihoods depend on them. They are waiting for us to return with oil. Owen manages to convince George. They continue sailing instead of turning back. 3 months later, they reach an area populated with whales. They launch the boats for the hunt. Owen attacks a whale. At first, it tries to escape, but is eventually killed and pulled onto the ship. They begin extracting the oil. Someone must climb inside the whale. They send Thomas in because of his small size. Days pass, but they find no more whales. Worse, they are running low on food. They dock at an island to resupply. They meet another whaling captain there. He tells them a story about his last hunt. He says they reached the heart of the sea, where they encountered a massive whale. This white whale was larger than any other. The whale attacked and destroyed their ship. The captain lost an arm, and the rest of his crew died. Owen's crew dismisses the story as a tall tale. The damaged captain leaves. However, George becomes greedy and wants to find that whale. They aim for the great whale. They sail toward that part of the ocean. 14 months later, they reach the location described by the captain. It is where the great whale lives. They launch their boats, armed with harpoons. Suddenly, Owen's boat is attacked. They fall into the water. For the first time, they see the white whale. It is just as the captain described. The whale swims away, but the other boats remain. Seizing a chance, they attack a different whale. They manage to kill it, but the great whale notices. It charges directly at their main ship. The ship begins to sink. George watches from his boat. He heads back toward the sinking ship. George orders everyone to abandon ship. They are all in the rowboats now. They salvage what little food they can. The next morning, they check their charts. Their situation worsens as they hit another storm. In the storm, Owen's childhood friend is injured. Time passes, and Owen tends to his friend. The others view the injured man as a burden. 1 month later, their food supplies run out. They are starving and near death. Then a crewman spots land. Relieved, they sail toward it. Owen senses something as they near the shore. It is the great whale again. It strikes and damages their boats. They wash ashore on the tide. They are reduced to a feral state. They eat whatever they can find on the island. George orders a fire to be lit, hoping a passing ship will see the smoke. The island is barren and uninhabited. Searching for food, they find a cave. Inside are human skeletons. Others had been stranded here before. No one came to save them. The crew fears they will share the same fate. They decide to leave and repair their boats. Some men choose to stay on the island. Owen's injured friend is among them. Owen promises to return with help. 48 days later, the condition of the men at sea is dire. One of their companions dies. They prepare to throw the body overboard, but they make a grim decision. They decide to eat the body instead. It is a heavy burden. But they have no choice. They are tormented by this act. But it is necessary for survival. They are helpless. So, they consume their friend. Back in the present, the aged Thomas pauses. He is visibly distressed by the memory of cannibalism. Thomas's wife enters, weeping. She is grieved by her husband's story. She urges Thomas to finish the tale. The story continues 1 month later. The men are still adrift. They are starving. Desperate, they play a deadly game. The loser is killed and eaten by the others. One day, Captain George draws the short straw. He hands a gun to his cousin, asking to be shot. But the cousin shoots himself instead. The survivors eat him. Later, they see the great whale again. Owen prepares to attack, but locks eyes with the beast. Owen lowers his weapon, and the whale swims away. Days later, a passing ship spots George's boat. They are rescued. The rescuing captain sees human bones in the boat and is shocked. Owen and Thomas's boat had drifted separately. They are near death. Then Owen spots a ship. They signal for help. They are finally rescued. Eventually, the survivors return home. The locals are surprised to see them. Everyone assumed they were dead. Owen's wife is waiting. They reunite. Later, Owen and Thomas meet. Owen gives his whale pin to Thomas. The company inquiry calls Owen and George to hear their account of the events. Owen prepares to leave, knowing the truth is unwanted. He tells George to do his duty as captain and tell the truth. George hesitates, but finally reveals the truth. However, the company publishes a fabricated story. Owen is shown starting a new life. He moves on. He sends a boat for his friend on the island. But it is too late. His friend has died. Thomas finishes his story. He asks, "Will you share this with the world?" The writer replies, "Yes, but with a new turn, based on the truth." Months later, the writer completes the book that makes him famous. The film ends. If you love this mystery, hit that like button, subscribe to Mystery Vault, and turn on notifications for more movie mysteries. See you in the next one.